Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of MSP-TV. We are live from the United Nations headquarters right now, and there's already a lot going on. So, Kazakhstan is the president for the MSP this year, so Ambassador Ahmed opened the floor. So, first we started with Sengrilis, the particularities of the floor, with more particularly several powerful speakers made their statements. Like ICANN's Melissa Park, who made her statement for ICANN, and we also heard from the Hibakusha and organizations such as the International Red Cross. Also, the under Undersecretary of the Undersecretary General for Izumi made her statement, and also the High Representative for Disarmament Affairs. If you want to hear all statements, you can go to UNTV. And also, as I mentioned earlier, Kazakhstan is this year's presidency for the MSP. And yesterday we had the immense pleasure of interviewing Ambassador Ahmed at the ICANN Campaigners Forum, where hundreds of campaigners came together to prepare for this week's MSP.
Good afternoon, Ambassador Ahmed. So, thank you very much for agreeing to do this interview, first of all.
Thank you very much for inviting me for the interview. It's my pleasure.
No problem, it's a pleasure for us. So, for the first question, Kazakhstan will be president of the MSP this year. Do you have any expectations for Kazakhstan, and what do you hope for in the future?
Yeah, thank you very much for the question. Actually, yes, Kazakhstan will be chairing, and personally myself, I will be the president of the third conference of the participating states of the TPNW. But it won't be expectation for Kazakhstan, but I think it would be expectation for all the entire participating states group. The expectation is to come to some tangible result on our way towards the total nuclear disarmament. And of course, we'll be taking stock of what we have attained after the MSP-1 and the second MSP, to outline our own goals and to lay proper foundation for the review conference next year or in 2027, because as you may know that after 5 years of the entrance into force of the TPNW, the participating states have to conduct the review conference to review the process of how the treaty is being implemented. And I think during the third MSP, we could decide upon when and what should be, brought to the review conference of the TPNW. And of course, we expect that the proper decision on how we could expand further the activities within the denuclearization process, our ways forward, like in terms of universalization, in terms of victims' assistance and the environmental remediation, about expanding the number of states, signatories and ratified states, about security concerns for many states, about some gender perspective of the disarmament and denuclearization process.
Thank you very much. So Kazakhstan is also co-chair of the working group on victim assistance, which is addressed in Article 6 and 7 of the Treaty for the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons. Could you tell us a little bit why this aspect is so important and what you think the treaty addresses importantly about this?
Yeah, you're right. In Kazakhstan, along with Kiribati, we are chairing the co-facilitator of the Articles 6 and 7 on victims' assistance and environmental remediation. And the main reason was that why Kazakhstan, put forward its candidature to co-chair this group is that Kazakhstan is among those countries who suffered from nuclear tests, because we used to host on our territory the huge nuclear test site named Semipalatinsk nuclear test site, and actually we possessed number 4th in terms of its size, nuclear infrastructure and arsenal. And in 1991, the decision was taken to remove, to dismantle and get rid of all nuclear weapons, all nuclear infrastructure, because that time we already bore in mind that it was the only, the right way, the proper way to move ahead without having, kind of burden and, a tragic reminder as, the nuclear weapon on our territory, because our population suffered a lot from the nuclear tests. We still have, many instances of, second or third generation suffering from the nuclear test site. It's kind of genetic deviation, kind of genetic mutation. It's also, land degradation. We cannot use water, we cannot use land, soil for our agriculture purposes. And that's why Kazakhstan was, along with Kiribati, also was suffered from the nuclear tests, to be the co-facilitator of this process. And we are now thinking about, moving forward the idea of creating the trust fund to help victims and to help restore, to rehabilitate the environment. And we are considering different ways of its funding, and we considering different ways of its functioning. Like we have to, think about how the, collecting of database should be done, the medical healthcare approach, the technological approach, and so there are many different aspects, pertaining to this issue, and we have to think. We just coordinate this process, but of course we look very much forward that countries will be actively involved into these activities.
Thank you. And as you just mentioned, Kazakhstan is one of the countries that gave up their nuclear weapons after the dissolvement of the Soviet Union. So how do you think that shapes Kazakhstan's role towards working for a world without nuclear weapons?
Yeah, and as I said, at that time decision was the only, working and vital, decision to survive in the world. And after that, we've started being very closely involved into the disarmament process, denuclearization process. We are part, and we initiated creating in Central Asia zone free of nuclear weapons, which is called Civil Palatas Treaty. We also declared, and the UN General Assembly resolution declared 29th of August the International Day to abolish nuclear test, against nuclear testing. Apart from that, every 2 years we adopt a resolution on attaining peace free of nuclear weapons. So we are trying to be with other countries on the forefront of the denuclearization and disarmament movement process.
Thank you so much for your answers, and thank you for agreeing to this interview once again. And good luck this year with the MSP. I know you will do great.
Yeah, thank you very much, and looking forward to your support during our MSP.
I hope you enjoyed that interview. And just like last year, we will be going to see what a roaming reporter Emma is doing. Up to you, Emma. But for now, we have to. We seem to be having a few technical difficulties, so we will have to join our roaming reporter Emma a bit later. But right now, we will interview some of the members of the Scientific Advisory. Yeah, please. Hi, thank you so much for agreeing to this interview. I'll let you all introduce yourself.
My name is Moritz Kurt. I'm a physicist from Germany and a member of the Scientific Advisory.
Hello, I'm Patricia Lewis. I'm a physicist from Ireland and the United Kingdom, and I'm a co-chair of the Scientific Advisory.
Hello, my name is Roshan Joyner. I'm one of the members of the Scientific Advisory Group. and I'm a chemist basically, and I work as a head nuclear sector at Bangladesh Chemical Manufacturer.
Thank you so much for agreeing to do this interview. So there's a research you made for the parties that are states that are parties to the treaty, and you have made an update recently to that research. Are there two of these updates that are new that you would like to highlight?
One of the major findings of our scientific advocacy group updated reports is that the nuclear states are continuing modernization and increasing their nuclear arsenals. So I think it is one of the as they're increasing and modernizing, we don't know the impact of their, and as well as they are exercising the nuclear armed, conflicts. They are exercising their nuclear military campaign, and this can accelerate the risk for the nuclear war. And these are the main things that two of the main things that we scientific advisory group reported in our updated report. And that when they are updated their arsenal, there is always a risk to until they eliminate all the nuclear weapons, there is always risk associated with that weapon. So the TPNW state parties should do research and ask them the transparency of their modernization of their nuclear weapons as well as their nuclear military exercises can accelerate the impact of nuclear war. I think these are the two main things. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your answer. And secondly, so you've also made a working paper where you give several recommendations for campaigners. What are some of these that you think are very important for the campaigners?
So we haven't made recommendations specifically. We've made recommendations for people working with treaties, so everybody. I think that, as Rachel said, one of the things to be so acutely aware of is the increased risks due to the increased modernization, the increased numbers. We're seeing a turnaround in nuclear weapons, and also, of course, with the conflict going on between possessors of nuclear weapons and non-possessors of nuclear weapons, so Ukraine, Russia against Ukraine, and of course in the Middle East. So we are, if you like, sounding a louder alarm this year than we did last year. And what we want everybody to do is to recognise the work that has been done already on risk, particularly the US National Academy Society, and also the work that's been done by the G7 National Academy on calling attention to these risks and to the need for new initiatives, new arms control, new disarmament initiatives, and to get one of the things that campaigners could do, I think, is to get their national academies to join with the G7 academies and get their governments taking this up as a leadership.
Thank you very much. And lastly, so campaigners all over the world are looking at your papers and are relying on the things you say to approach their governments in regards to TPNW. So what advice would you have for campaigners to bring this up in an accessible manner to their government?
So there's a number of ways. This year's working paper has not been translated yet. We hope it will be translated towards the end of the meeting. Last meeting's 2 MSP report was translated into the 6 UN languages, so we recommend to campaigners to use the specific language reports to use this for campaign. And we also have a short summary of our current report in Reaching Critical Will's nuclear ban daily. So the first nuclear ban daily that came out has something in there. And of course, we ask the campaigners to look at the recommendations that are in the report, in the nuclear ban daily summary, and see whether they can bring these recommendations to their governments, whether they are state parties or not. Because there's lots of campaigners that are not state parties. And they can, for example, Raushan's transparency call for nuclear modernization is a call you can make to your government if it's in the state.
Morris, Patricia, Raushan, thank you so much for speaking to us and for answering some of the hard questions of the campaigners.
Thank you, Judy, for it. Thank you.
And right now, we will be following with Alistair. He will be telling us a little bit more about what has been happening this morning, and we're looking forward to this week. Hi, Alistair.
Hi.
So, this morning, a lot has been going on. I gave a small intro about it, but can you tell us a bit?
It's been packed, actually. I've never quite seen it so busy. It took us a while to get into the building with the queues.
Yeah, so from your Alistair, hi. So, as I said in the introduction, a lot of things have already happened this morning. So, how about you guys?
Well, the first thing to say, I think, is that it's really busy here. I haven't seen it so busy for a while. There are big queues to get in, it took me a while to get in. And the room, the council chamber, the trusteeship council chamber, where the plenary session is taking place, was packed. Standing room only, except you're not allowed to stand. We heard some very strong statements from the high-level segment. The Undersecretary General for Disarmament Affairs, Jimmy Makanitsu, made a very strong statement on behalf of the Secretary General, calling for an ambitious outcome. It's necessary because the alternative is cynicism and inertia. Melissa Park, our Executive Director, made a very well-received speech with urgent need for action on disarmament. Jiro Hamasu of Nihon Dankyo, Peace Prize is there. He made a very strong speech as well for no more Hibakusha and the elimination of nuclear weapons. Mexico, which presided over the last meeting, reminded us of the strong political declaration that was made at the end of that meeting, which condemned nuclear deterrence. As we know, it's a threat to all and also an obstacle to disarmament. And we're hoping the political declaration this year will be equally or even more stronger than that. And that is now being, as we speak, there are consultations going on between the states in the chamber about the exact shape and form of that declaration. Also this week, we're hoping, we've got to move forward on support for the survivors of the use and testing. And the involvement of the survivors in the process of the meeting. The innovative nature, as we know, of the ticket is that it includes people who have been affected by the use and testing. And so we've heard a representative of the affected communities in Kiribati make a speech as well to the high-level meeting, which shows how seriously they take that, the states take that. This afternoon, there'll be a conference of 30 parliamentarians, many from umbrella states and also from nuclear weapon states. who are support the treaty, and then they will report back to the plenary, the meeting of the states parties, about what the outcomes of their conference was or were. We'll hear later in the week from financial institutions which are divesting from nuclear weapons about their support for the treaty, which is another thing to look out for. And tomorrow, finally, we'll have the launch of this year's nuclear ban monitor from the Norwegian People's Aid, which is a partner. We'll hear about the latest of the updated numbers, the sizes of the 9 nuclear states' arsenals, and also how the treaty itself has advanced, particularly in the number of ratifications we've seen. Indonesia, Sao Tome and Principe, Sierra Leone, and Solomon Islands ratified the treaty. So that's kind of what we're going to see. It's quite an exciting prospect, and we're looking forward to it.
Okay, thank you so much, Alistair. So you've also told us what to look out for this week, so we are looking forward to it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And now I will ask the audience, remind you that we also really need your input and we really want to hear your questions. This Wednesday, we will be talking about security concerns and the expectations of the Hibakusha for this year's MSP. So please make sure you click the link. And you follow at icanw.org/MSP_TV to give us your questions for Wednesday. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the third MSP to our favorite treaty, of course, the UN Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons. Now, it is a chilly but auspiciously sunny day here in New York City, and the first order of business is that we need to go pick up our passes, so let's go.
Every day when you're walking down the street, everybody that you meet has an original point of view.
All right, pass collection was surprisingly quick and easy, so I'm already in through security. We're about to enter the UN building, and we're going to find some campaigners and see what their hopes are for this week and how they're feeling on this first day.
I'm Rhys. I'm with UN House Scotland, and one of my big hopes for the 3MSP is that more countries are going to sign the TPNW.
I'm Zachary at UN House Scotland. I hope to create more understanding about nuclear weapons internationally and to attract more signatories for the TPNW.
Hi, my name is Magnus. I'm from Norway and the UN House Scotland, and I would urge Norway to sign the TPNW.
Time to go inside the UN building. Let's head to the NGO room for the morning briefing.
So I'm Suri and this is Talish, and we're here with the Harvard International Human Rights Clinic. We worked on a working paper about the proposed international trust fund, and essentially the international proposed trust fund on victim assistance and environmental remediation should involve a broad range of actors, including civil society and affected communities at all stages of the trust fund's operations and design.
Hi, I'm Jean-Marie Colin from ICANN France Director. I hope this week the states will reinforce the TPNW actions and reinforce the taboo against nuclear weapons.
Hi, I'm Rishi. I'm 17, might be one of the only minors out here, and my hope for this week is tell as many people as I can about Students for Nuclear Disarmament and get young people to care about the threat of nuclear war.
Hi, I'm Maria. I'm also with Students for Nuclear Disarmament, and my hope for this week is to meet as many young people as possible and hopefully foster some collaboration.
Okay, we're now outside the Trusteeship Council, where the first session of the day is about to start. In a few minutes, there are over 160 civil society organizations at this MSP, so we have an incredible, massive presence, and there's a really great energy in the air today. So with that, I will send it back to you, Naomi.
Thank you so much to our woman reporter, Emma. If you want to see more of that, make sure to tune in on Wednesday and Friday with MSP-TV again.